People have powerful feelings about the traffic in Los Angeles. It says something that local officials warned motorists about a temporary roadwork closure on the 405 last year by calling it Carmageddon. Angelenos took the hint, and this weekend they're expected to steer clear of the latest 405 closure, named, of course, Carmageddon 2. That's how it is in L.A., a snarl of overstuffed freeways and commuters who keep their cool, except when they don't. KPCC's Stephen Cuevas has this profile of a punk rocker whose music expresses the insanity of L.A. traffic while extolling the virtues of public transit.
Couple of things you need to know about Eddie Solis. He lives in L.A., loves the band Kiss, and does not own a car.
Being someone who's from L.A., born and raised, and, having a few cars in my past, I saw the city much differently, through a different perspective, through the eyes of a bus rider.
Want to just go all the way to the back? Sure.
Line 18, Wilshire, Western Station.
Just steps from the front door of his home, across the street from a tortilla factory in LA's Boyle Heights neighborhood, Solis catches a bus that connects him with the city's subway and the commuter train he catches to his day job at an indie record label in Hollywood.
It just opened me up to little neighborhoods, galleries, clubs, bars, just everything. Just seeing what's out there, little pockets of the city.
Solis's journeys aboard LA buses and subway cars informs a lot of the material on The New Los Angeles Part 1, Through the Eyes of a Bus Rider, the latest release by the singer-guitarist band It's Casual. In Solis's vision of a new Los Angeles, people abandon their cars, climb aboard public transit, and rediscover their communities. One song extols the virtues of the LA County Metropolitan Transit Agency's Easy Pass and the urban underbelly it introduces to the rider.
And that's a nod and homage to, the people who know what you could even go cheaper and really beat the system and really steer away from spending money on gas and oil profits and all that. Is all it takes for me to witness racial tension, for me to witness illegal aliens. It's not to paint a negative picture, it's just my perspective of what is seen.
Off the bus and back on the street, we make our way past a jazz saxophonist playing for pocket change and down a long escalator to catch a train. So, where are we now?
We're at the Red Line station, the Pershing Square station in downtown LA.
And what's our destination?
We're going to go downstairs another tier, and in about 5 minutes we're going to get on the Red Line going northbound.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's go. The Metro Red Line snakes from North Hollywood to downtown Los Angeles. It's the train that inspired It's Casual's signature tune and spawned a viral internet video. It was partly filmed late at night on a moving train as it hurtles from station to station. Solis thrashes away on his guitar and barks the lyrics, which celebrate the Red Line and call out the congested freeways that coil around Los Angeles.
Este es un tren del Metro Red Line a North Hollywood.
The 210, the 605, the freeways are not so nice. The I-5, the 210, the freeways are not so nice.
The thread that comes out of the record that ties everyone together is just be alive, don't be a victim of having a car.
An MTA spokesman said he couldn't comment on Eddie Solis's furious pro-Metro message, but the Red Line video was a hit at the offices of Move LA.
Eddie's done a good job. Thank you, Eddie.
It's the public transportation advocacy group headed by former Santa Monica Mayor Denny Zane. He liked the juxtaposition of Solis blissfully riding LA public transit in one scene with scenes of the band raging against those notorious freeway jams.
Eddie is all frantic when he talks about highways and so mellow when he's grooving on a skateboard and on the bus and on the Red Line. There's a metaphor for the transformation, from the, oh my God, I just got to get out of the traffic, to, hey, this is cool. I can mellow out.
Or you can blast a tune like Too Many People as you claw your way across Los Angeles by car, bus, or skateboard.
Los Angeles, there's too many people. I want them to go away, even though every day's afraid.
Too Many People could also be a motto for It's Casual. Over the years, the band whittled itself down to a power duo of Solis and a rotating cast of drummers. So you may think the burly, bearded punk rocker just can't get along with freeways, with people, or his native L.A. Not true.
I love it. I love everything about it. I've traveled throughout the U.S. many times, and I could never look forward enough to coming back. The weather, the different cultures, the landscape. I was just like, you know what? Now I know everyone moves to L.A.
Solis will bring the love and the volume during a Red Line mini tour next month. It's Casual will play a different venue within walking distance of several Red Line metro stops from Union Station to West Hollywood. For the California Report, I'm Stephen Cuevas.
That's the California Report, a production of KQED Public Radio in San Francisco. Our director this week is Nina Thorson. Seal Muller is our technical producer. We had additional engineering from Danny Bringer and Howard Gelman. Thanks to Hank Hadley at KCBX. Our online team includes Lisa Pickoff-White, David Marks, and Don Clyde. Our interns are Catherine Borgeson and Rachel Johnson. Tyke Hendricks is our elections editor with production help from Tina Lauerberg. We had editing support from Paul Rogers. Victoria Malione is our associate senior producer. Ingrid Becker is our senior producer. The news director is Bruce Kuhn. I'm Rachel Myro. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. This is the California Report.
Funds for the California Report are provided by the James Irvine Foundation, expanding opportunity for the people of California and supporting the California Report since its premiere in 1995. And the California Endowment. Health happens in schools at calendow.org. And Chevron, investing in renewables, strengthening communities, and creating jobs. More information at chevron.com.
The 210, the 605, the freeways are not so nice. The I-5, the 210, the freeways are not so nice. The 101, the 405, the freeways are not so nice. The I-5, the I-10, the freeways are not so nice. The 210, the 605, the freeways are not so nice. I-5, the I-10, the freeways are not so nice. The red line, 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 the red line. The 210, the 605, the freeways are not so nice. The I-5, the I-10, the freeways are not so nice. The 101, the 405, the freeways are not so nice. The 605, the 101, the 101, the 101, the I-10, the 210, the 605, the 101, the 405, the I-10, the freeways are not so nice. The red line, 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 the red line.
Hey, welcome to Los Angeles NISA episode 129. This is the mother of all Long Beach, California episodes. This episode is brought to you by Music Revolution in Whittier and our friends at Death Wish Skateboards and also ampsandgreenscreens.com. Check them out. Music, television, and movies celebrating 1 year on March 31st. In studio guest from Hyrax, Caton W. DePena.
Thanks for having me, man. Good to be here.
And
cheers.
Cheers to you, our co-host, Ephraim Scholes.
What's happening?
How are you, man? You brought a new toy. We're going to be debuting the second prototype of the new forthcoming Motorhead guitar.
I just saw it.
You just saw
killer.
it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How was your weekend?
Excited.
How was your weekend?
It was good, man. It was very good. Too much to talk about, though.
I saw a lot of bands this weekend.
Did you?
A ton of bands. I saw Descendants.
Right on. Where'd you see them at?
At the Musing Festival.
Did they rip?
Yeah. I mean, Bill Stevenson. Come on.
Yeah, he's a great drummer.
Ridiculous.
He used to come into Zed Records when I used to work there in Long Beach. Yeah.
You know, Bill was in my favorite lineup of Flag. Ginn, Kira, Bill, and Rollins. That's
Great
my favorite.
lineup.
That's heavy.
Funny thing, I'll tell you a real quick story about Bill. He would come into Zed, no matter what was playing, he would pick apart the drums.
And so into it,
He'd
right?
be like, yeah, it was like watching a mad scientist. So he'd just have his head straight up, and he'd be all, that guy's not hitting the kick drum hard enough.
That's so rad.
Yeah, he was a trip. So, I mean, that store, when I worked there, we had everybody from Black Flag, the Dinosaur Jr., just Jesus Lizard, you name it.
Jesus Lizard. Remember the Jesus Lizard?
Yeah, great band.
Dude.
Totally. So we're going to talk Hyrax. Caton, I mean, you've got so much under your belt in music because a lot of people don't know, and we're going to bring to light other things you've played with, with Tony from No Doubt.
Yeah.
A band we'll talk about later. Junk Records.
Yeah.
Some of the places you used to book and your loyalty to metal. I want to ask you, when did you first connect with metal, and when did you decide to start Hyrax?
Well, earlier, obviously, the metal thing was kind of a mix between metal and punk, obviously. I grew up on... To me, there's really not a huge difference. I mean, some people fight over that. I call it the unending battle. But, I was listening to bands like Black Sabbath and even the Dead Boys and the Damned and Judas Priest. I mean, to me, I always listen to both sides. But obviously... Rebel
music, man.
Yeah, to me, they're just for people that are kind of like misunderstood outcasts, and I kind of am proud to be one of those people. But obviously, metal's been there for me so much, too, though. I mean, I have tons of friends that are in punk bands, but I've always been in metal bands myself. But like I said, I know both sides so well. It's hard, sometimes when people talk shit, I'm like, no, they're both great,
Right. I mean, you were right in the middle, and you were like immersing yourself in metal and hardcore punk rock.
Like even with Hyrax, people don't realize our first booking agency was the same agency that booked all the bands on SST Records. Like,
no way.
Yeah, we would be touring.
Global.
Yeah, global booking, and trying to remember his name. You probably know the guy's name. Oh, God, it's been so long. But anyways, we were booked by the same guys, so we would be touring, and it'd be Black Flag the night before us, and then we would come in the next night and play.
Same
clubs, yeah. So that was what was great about Hyrax, too. People don't realize that we always were accepted by the punk scene way before even the metal scene. Like, the metal scene took a little longer. We would go up to San Francisco, and I remember Maximum Rock and Roll Radio was the first station to play our music.
Wow.
But obviously after a while we caught on more, and, the rest is history, as they say. But basically when I was 13, I started really getting more into it because a friend of mine's brother down the street, he was playing me all these different records. He was playing me like, Judas Priest and, Scorpions with Uli Roth, and it was blowing my mind. But at the same time, he had Ramones in his record collection. He had I remember the Sex Pistols. The first time I heard them was when that record first came out, and I heard Bodies, and I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy shit,"
Right.
So, but for me, the metal thing just got more and more intense. I was getting into hard rock as well, so I was listening to Ted Nugent and Bad Company and all these different bands, and probably right around the early 80s, I got into the British new wave of metal, and that I never turned my back after that.
Let me ask you a question about that. Do you consider, like, the early Def Leppard that?
Yeah, hell yeah. Believe it or not.
I love those first three records with Pete Willis, right?
Yeah. Pete Willis, especially on the first two albums, on High and Dry and on the first, On Through the Night.
I love those records.
Yeah. And if he wouldn't have been such a great drinker, he probably would have stayed in the band. But he was a hardcore drinker. But yeah, Def Leppard was definitely a British new wave of heavy metal band. And, you know, a lot of people don't like to admit it now because they've gotten different over the years. But
they're into making pop records and being on Billboard.
The first two records are great.
Yeah, that's their deal. They write records where like every single song is a single.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
it's like, all right, well they're playing with Kiss coming up.
They were as good as anybody in the beginning. You know, they were right there with bands like Saxon, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. You know, all those early bands. You know, so.
I wanted to pick your brain about a certain part or era of metal, like the early British invasion, like we're talking about, you know, Scorpions, early Def Leppard. I think like at the time there was like a dark cloud looming over rock and it became harder rock. Yeah. And like I remember like a band like Riot came out.
Great band.
And I saw them with Vandenberg when they both opened for Kiss at Long Beach Arena.
That's hot.
I was in eighth grade. No, I was 8 years old. It was 83. It was the Lick It Up tour.
That's crazy.
First tour without makeup. And opening was Riot.
Great band.
And I remember looking at my dad. I'm like, dude, this band's fast. I've never seen anything so fast.
For that time, they were great.
They were a fast band for 83, right?
I mean, what's Riot? I don't know Riot.
They're like Motorhead.
Check them out. Fire Down Under, Narita. Guy, there's people at home right now listening going, dude, you got to remember all the titles. But I would say all the records, I mean, they still had great records even after that, but anything from Fire Down Under down, I'm one of those guys who's always the first three, the first five albums. But Riot's amazing. The guitar playing's incredible. Great harmonies. To me, they're probably the most underrated all-time American band.
Really?
Yeah, they're the Montrose of their time. Like Montrose, to me, the first Montrose album.
That's a serious rock record.
A serious rock record.
And that's what Riot.
Those riffs are insane.
Riot's later on. Yeah. But they're pretty early too. But the thing is, Riot is probably, without a doubt, probably the most unappreciated, underrated American band of all time. Check them out. They're amazing.
Any of those guys, did they do any other bands?
No. But you should check out. I'm telling you, dude, the record. Really? If I was going to go like on an island, I would take one of their records. That's how good they are.
I need to get into Riot.
Fire Down Under is probably, like, you know how every band has like Maiden has Number of the Beast, even though they have a lot of great records. But
they have Number of the Beast.
But if you were going to like go to an island, you would have to take Number of the Beast. Well, with Riot, it's Fire Down Under.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So check that out.
Fire Down Under.
Now, when
is that referring to Australia?
No, that's funny though.
That is funny.
There's a lot of great bands from Australia, and that's a whole nother
segment, right?
Yeah. Rose Tattoo is one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Rose Tattoo. They're the classic band of Australia.
This show is not going to be long enough because we could go all night.
I played a festival with Rose Tattoo once.
Great band.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Was that in Australia? Was that in Australia?
That's another band that doesn't get enough credit.
Trippy.
Like, they're huge in Europe. And they're really big, obviously, in Australia.
They're a classic rock band.
Yeah. I went and saw them. We were on tour in Germany back in 2004. I was walking around Hamburg, Germany, and I saw a big poster on a wall, and it said Rose Tattoo, and I was like, we have a day off. There's no way in hell we're missing Rose Tattoo. And we went.
You saw them?
It was like a religious experience. They were so good.
I saw them that one time, and it was
great band.
It's fucking awesome.
Really great band.
It was weird because you know how the festivals, it's like the stage to stage. So it was all Rose Tattoo, Carcass.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pretty rad though.
Yeah. The European festivals are awesome.
Amazing, right? Like,
totally.
We're going to talk more about European festivals.
Yes, for sure.
Let's talk about once you guys got your craft together and you put a record out and started playing shows.
All right. Well, it's kind of like these headsets, since I can't hear shit right now. When you play shows, you don't know if your monitors are going to work. That's what's going on right here. But this happens to me every time I'm in the studio.
Oh, really? It's an ongoing thing?
But it's cool. It's probably me. Maybe I'm just deaf,
it's only you.
Or it's my afro's blocking everything. So what was that last question? Let's get right back to that.
So let's talk about, more or less the timeline when you guys released your first
album
and started playing around.
Yeah, well, we did, like everybody back in the day. I think they're still doing these, but these were cassette tapes back in the day. We did a demo, and people started trading it around. It was right around the time that demos were really happening. So people were tape trading, and our tape got mixed in with all these demos, like the Metallica No Life Till Leather demo, and there were some early Slayer demos, and there was a band from New York called Overkill.
Yeah.
Elimination.
I'm trying to think of every band. There were so many bands.
Overkill's great.
But yeah, great band. I highly suggest them as well. But the demo got around, and then it got to the president of Metal Blade Records, Brian Slagle. He had heard it, and he sent us a contract like right away. And we were like,
did he already put Slayer out by that time?
Yeah, Slayer was out already. He'd signed some great bands that we like, so we were like, we're into being on this label, because it wasn't just Slayer. At that time, there's a band called Trouble, who we thought were phenomenal.
Wagner.
Yeah, Eric Wagner's the man, by the way. And there was another band called Voivod and Celtic Frost. Celtic Frost and Voivod were pretty much the reasons we were like, we'll sign. We didn't even need to read the contract.
That's great.
Yeah, so then we signed the contract. We did a first song we recorded was Bombs to Death, which is like now one of our songs that we always have to play live. And there was a compilation that came out called Metal Massacre 6. Back then they called it 666, but it was Metal Massacre 6.
You're on that.
Yeah, with like Possessed, Dark Angel, just a bunch of great bands. And that came out. We started playing all the local clubs. In L.A. at the time, they outlawed, stage diving was outlawed, that you couldn't stage dive at all. I mean, there's still a little bit of that crap, but for us now, when I play shows in L.A., I laugh, because I'm like, I remember when this shit was illegal. You know,
his parents dropping kids off.
Yeah,
go ahead, go have fun for 3 hours.
Yeah, and this was before when you would get hurt, you wouldn't sue a club because you didn't even know how to sue a club. So if you got hurt, you were fucked. You know, so
you just go to the emergency room, right?
Yeah,
You just go to the emergency room.
We started playing around, and then we realized we couldn't do that many shows in LA because it was kind of where they didn't understand the music yet, and we were kind of battling for clubs with a lot of the hair bands. So then we went up to San Francisco, and we started playing with bands like Exodus and Possessed and Megadeth. I remember we did a show with them that was phenomenal. It was Hyrax, Megadeth, Death Angel, and us. And it was actually Testament. It was before Testament had changed their name. They were called Legacy. And so San Francisco was perfect for us. It was a good fit. The people up there were crazy like we were. And there was no problem with stage diving and slam pits, you know. But we play L.A., and the reason we got respect when we came back to L.A. is because we were filling up clubs. And that always talks, no matter, even if they don't like violent shows, if you're filling clubs and people are drinking beer, they'll keep booking you, you know.
You know, one thing I want to bring to light and have you articulate, because I wasn't old enough to see the friction, but the crossover thing wasn't really happening yet. Now, I mean, it was pretty separated. Hardcore, punk, and metal. Yeah. It wasn't all good.
Yeah, no,
right?
It wasn't good at all. I mean,
it wasn't all good.
No, it was like, it's funny. That's another thing. Like back to now is that I go to shows and these kids think these shows are so crazy. It's like, You're lucky if you see anybody bleed nowadays. Back in the old days, you saw people bleeding all the time at shows, you know. And it wasn't because they were stage divers, because they were fighting.
Right.
I remember a show at Fender's Ballroom, which is a great venue that was located in Long Beach.
Right.
And there were a bunch of gangs back at that time. There were the Lads, and some of those guys are my friends, so I'm not going to talk shit.
I mean, but there was, you know what people don't understand is LA's so huge, and there's such a huge sub gang culture.
Yeah,
that people don't want to join the like cholo gangs. They still have their way of operating in a gang through punk rock.
Yeah.
Like there's
totally,
the Lads.
Totally.
There's you know there's even the Sharp Skins.
Well, there were the Lads back in these days. There were the Lads were around. The Suicidals were around. The Suicidals were pretty big, and Mike Muir was actually at the shows, and he was pretty much directing shit, you know. And you had Circle One. They were around. They're probably still around. I mean, I don't really keep up with that stuff. See, that was one of the things that was a problem for us as being in Hyrax. We didn't want to be a part of any gang just because we wanted to stand on the music alone, and we didn't really want any division between people. We wanted to bring everybody together, which is something we still stand for to this day. But it's a tough line to walk when you're friends with everybody.
Right.
You know, like we're in the middle of all this shit. But I remember one night at Fender's Ballroom, there's going to be a fight between the Lads and the Suicidals. And I remember Mike Muir getting right in the middle of it, and then everything got squashed. Nobody fought. You know?
Wow.
Whoa.
So I've always had, that's one dude I will say I've always had a lot of respect for him. Even back in the day when people would say stuff and be like, dude, you don't run a band, so you don't know how hard it is to run a band.
Yeah.
People always vilify the leader of a band. The leader's always
he's the
guy
target,
yeah,
right?
Always. Yep. I know that feeling.
That guy.
But yeah, when you're running stuff and you're in charge of money and merchandise and paying people.
And saying yes or no.
And also telling club owners to go screw themselves when you don't get paid because you've got 5 guys in your band or 4 guys in your band.
Or promoters,
that need to get paid.
And every one of them is trying to rip you off, man. Literally.
Yeah. Well, that's how they make their money, by ripping people off.
Yeah.
But, so Hyrax has always had a deep, rich history in the LA and San Francisco scene, and especially throughout all the suburbs, and even in all the ghettos and stuff like that too. And we're real proud of that. So, from the beginning, we've always been down, and we played everything from the punk venues to the bigger metal venues, and we always will. I mean, we're not going to pick a side. We're always going to stay in the middle and do what we want to do, but we're never going to sell out.
Right. And that's true. I mean, the what you're doing now is the way you've always done it. But to go back to what I was trying to articulate with you was, before this scene blew up and there was Hot Topic and all these platforms.
There was no Hot Topic.
Yeah. And there was no, Epitaph wasn't signing all these bands.
You had to search for records.
Yeah.
And look at the record and look at the T-shirt the dude's wearing. We've talked about this to find who else to listen to.
Going to the shows is kind of how you found out about new bands. Like if you went to a show, you would see somebody wearing a S&FU shirt, or you'd see somebody wearing an Accused shirt. Or or somebody would be wearing an Attitude Adjustment shirt. Right. So you would start talking to dudes, or you wouldn't talk. You just go to a record store the next day and look for that band's shit,
Exactly.
So for us, I just think that it was always a good thing to stay the way we were and always do things the way we've done them. It's not been easy, though, because you do stuff where people want to get you to do things that you normally wouldn't do, and we've never done that, so we've had a tougher climb. We've been offered tours that people would be amazed that we got offered, and we had to pass because we're not 17 years old and we don't live with our parents. There's got to be some money to be able to afford for the band to go on these tours. I don't want to mention none of the bands because people will be like, holy shit.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to create a bad relationship either.
What's funny is they always feel insulted, though. Like some of the bands we were friends with don't talk to us anymore because we couldn't do tours with them. You'd be amazed.
Lame. Dude,
but I mean, I kind of...
Sensitive metal guys,
Well, yeah, you'd be surprised.
There's a lot of sensitive metal guys, dude.
You'd be surprised. I mean, it's... I think they're a little bit more sensitive in the metal scene than they are in the punk scene, to be honest.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of egos. But for us, it's really still about the fans. The fans are all that matter to us, and that's what we do. We're still going to play the shows like this show that we're talking about coming up. Probably in August at the House of Blues. If we do it, it's going to be for the people, The only problem there is last time we played there, at the last minute, they changed the age limit, and it was supposed to be all ages, and they changed it to 18 and over, and that bummed out like a shitload of kids.
It was, Hyrax played, it was free, right?
Yeah, free show.
It was a weeknight show. It was Hyrax. It was
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Who else played before you? I think you guys were right in the middle.
I think Witch Haven was on the bill, and I think I don't know. Somebody's at home yelling at their stereo right now, going, "Those guys."
It was so rad because I rolled up. I got off the bus. I rolled up. I crossed the street, and there's a bunch of satanic Hispanic kids
with
40s in West Hollywood.
That's how they
just
roll.
walking down the street with Creator shirts and Forbidden shirts with flannel tied around their waist.
It's still going.
Yeah.
It's still going, man.
And just like
they're gonna die.
They're like 16 or 17 with 40s, just walking down the street. Like,
I think what it is, all those
on
kids,
like a Wednesday night.
I think those kids stumble into their parents' garages and open up like some crate, and they find their dad's high tops and his fucking denim jacket.
Yeah.
And they find an old 40, and they're like, these all go together.
Yeah, totally.
And it's a nice price.
You know what? We got a caller, and it's a friend of ours who you've been on the show, Jimmy Cabs.
Jimmy Cabs. All right, cool.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, dude? El Diablo, how are you?
Is he talking to me?
Yeah, man, I'm talking to you.
I can't hear these headphones. I'm telling
you,
you,
know what?
Let's
get you
put
some
these
other
headphones on.
Are these ones working?
Try those.
Should.
Hold on. I'm telling you, every time I come in this damn place,
about how pivotal.
You there?
You were talking about how pivotal that early era of the crossover scene. You got to really remember at that time, dude. As you mentioned before, there was no internet. There was none of these commercialized stores where you could go. It was all independent.
There weren't no Scion shows.
Yeah. But let's talk about. I really want to hone in on the violence, dude. That
it was
scene
crazy.
was so violent. I remember going to the Olympic where paramedics would be outside drinking coffee,
waiting,
asking you, "Hey, what time is this show going to be over?" 'Cause they already expected mass fucking casualties.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think we probably didn't hit on that enough. It was very violent, and I think that now the shows, it's pretty much a hot topic situation across the boards.
Totally.
Yeah, not just there, but Balboa Theater, Fender's Ballroom. I remember one night I was coming out of Fender's Ballroom, and there was a guy on the sidewalk lying on his back, stabbed. And he actually didn't make it. It was that bad. You were actually scared when you went to shows, even though you had to go because you were a kid and you loved the music.
Right.
But you were still a little bit scared because you never knew it was going to go down.
What about bands that are going now that if you told a kid now, dude, if you went to this show in 89, you would have got
stabbed.
Your ass kicked, the little kid at the Vandal show has no idea that these people get stabbed at those shows.
How about when you played with Agnostic Front in downtown a while back? If Agnostic Front played downtown 20 years ago, 25.
They probably would have been able to, actually.
Right.
Do you remember when Suicidal was banned? They couldn't even play it.
Yeah, for 8 years.
Yeah, for a long time. But
no one would book Agnostic Front, and the Redwood was the only place that would let us play. We're like, Agnostic Front, man, they could fucking do a great show in L.A.
I remember 30 years ago, I went to see DRI at this place called 12XU out in Pomona. And their set list was 50 songs, and the place from the first song on was just bad shit nuts, just people smacking each other and shit. The night before, thank you for that, by the way. The night before Agnostic Front played, I mean, that's you could go to shows like that and see back-to-back shit like that. But yeah, it's a lot safer. Even though parents, I'm sure parents still worry when their kids go to shows nowadays. But back in the day, people got hurt, and they got seriously hurt.
You know what?
But now, you know what though? They're worried about different stuff now. They're just worried about their kid eating 50 mollies or some weird shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny. See, that's where I feel like I'm an old fucker because I don't even know what a molly is.
Yeah,
what is a molly?
I don't know what a molly is either. I don't know anything about those, and I've never.
Is it like some kind of acid? What is it?
It's like newer
MDMA.
ecstasy, right?
It's MDMA.
Right,
It's pure.
see, this is how old I am.
How about salt baths?
I don't know what any of that.
Salt baths is like the new
It's
PCP.
bath salts, not salt
Yeah.
baths. Hey, how Mexican is that?
Salt bath?
Oh, it's a salt bath.
See, I just stick with good old fashioned alcohol. That's what I do.
If you drink beer, you keep it consistent, right?
Dude, I'm already weird enough as it is. If I take any of that shit, it's gonna be. Have you ever seen Blackula?
I saw that on HBO, dude, back in the day.
That rules.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool now. It's funny. I think that a lot of bands, I guess, kind of pushed for things to get better so people would come to shows and get along.
Right.
So it's cool to see that. But yeah, it used to be really violent. It was actually sad because people got hurt really, really
You know
bad.
what? I want to share one experience. I think this was the tail end of the LA punk rock gang violence, because what people don't understand is I think people that weren't into that scene, they thought it was all just a bunch of skaters hanging out. But it was really like gang territory, and even worse because you don't walk into the neighborhood. Everyone was in the Palladium or wherever the show was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I went in high school, 91. I was a sophomore. I went to see Fear in MDC. And that was when Fear came back.
Yeah.
It was the first show. I remember I walked in.
Right?
Yeah, there was a riot. Yeah, at the Palladium. It was a Friday night.
Dude, I used to kind of dig that as long as I wasn't in the middle of it. I thought the riots were kind of cool.
I was 15, and I swear, it was bunch of suicidals. You had just a bunch of gutter punks that didn't care.
Yeah.
And then you had the skinheads.
Yeah.
But then you had the sharps and the Nazis.
Yeah.
And then you had the LMPs and the lads.
Yeah.
And then you just had a bunch of fucked up people.
Yeah, which I fit right in with those guys. Yeah, it's
madness.
It's amazing to think how it used to be. I remember when meddlers and punkers didn't get along at all.
That's why I brought this conversation up, because there was no.
We couldn't get away with half
I mean,
the
in the
shit we do now
beginning,
with music
you couldn't cross over back
Your
then.
band
there was
would
no
get fucking beat up,
crossover yet.
too.
I mean,
on that subject, I got to tell you this one. This is a good one. Jimmy, if he's still listening, he's
I'm still here. can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, jump in, motherfucker.
Jump in, that's it. Jump in.
Hey, there was very few bands that were crossoverable. What I mean by that were both audiences, when you would go to attend these shows, it would still turn into a riot. But if you were in line, like the punkers or the metalers, they'd look at you to say, okay, two bands, Motorhead and Hyrax shows.
Yeah.
Those were the two shows where both communities got together in the early 80s. We already talked about how fucking violent it was, where punkers had razor blades in their leather in line, and they would let you in the venue, and they would say, hey, you're here to see Hyrax, cool, and then they'd slash your fucking body.
I'll tell you a really good one. This is a punk movement and a group of people that some people don't remember, but some people listening will remember. There was a group called the Pig Children, and they were from like out in Anaheim, Orange County area.
That's your territory, dude.
And one of our very first shows. Now this is awesome because hopefully Scotty from Cryptic Slaughter is listening. But
Cryptic Slaughter.
Yeah, well check this out. This is hot. We're playing one night. It's Hyrax and Pig Children, the band, and we're playing in Anaheim. And as we're playing, punkers are just fucking beating the shit out of people that have come to see us. All right.
Oh, wow.
And most of those people in the very front row were the guys, pretty much the whole band of Cryptic Slaughter, because they were just starting out and they came to see us. And, because they were really good friends of ours and they dug what we were doing. So they were there to just support us and
Wasn't Agnew one of those guys?
Which guy?
Rick Agnew. Wasn't he part of that?
I don't know if he might have been.
Sorry,
no, he might have been. I don't know. I mean, I know a few of them still. What's funny, like now we all drink beer together, but back in the day we didn't get along at all.
Right.
But yeah, they were beating the shit out of the guys from Cryptic Slaughter, and I don't think they knew it. But it's funny because I'm sure by now today they'd listen to Cryptic Slaughter records.
Absolutely.
They never had an idea they were beating the shit out of those guys. I mean, Scott will tell you if you ever talk to Scott from Cryptic Slaughter, he remembers that show. It was crazy. But that's the point I'm making is it used to be very unsafe. And Jimmy's right. There were only a couple of bands that you could actually go see that were crossover bands. For us, it got better once we went to San Francisco because that's when we hooked up with like the Accused, which they weren't from San Francisco, but they played there a lot, and we used to go up there a lot. So we started hanging out with them and Attitude Adjustment and bands like that. And it
what
just
was
got better.
Pusshead's band's name again?
They were called Septic Death, and they were amazing.
Right, dude.
Yeah. He actually he has a lot to do with the crossover thing.
Exactly, the
major lot. I mean, he was doing bands like us and what was it? The Misfits, 7 Seconds,
Metallica.
Yeah, well, that even dude. What's funny when he got with Metallica, it got weird. But
yeah, that's when he got spoiled, man.
Jimmy will tell it like it is. I have to watch my language.
Thrasher, skate rock, Thrasher, skate rock.
Bank account blew up.
Yeah, well, the thing is, dude, he was the first guy that I went to his house, and he had one of them TVs from the future. He had like an 8-screen TV when I went to his house.
Was this like 85?
Yeah, it's at least 85. That guy, dude, you go to his house, and Gas Stunk would be sitting on his couch, or Jism. These crazy Japanese hardcore bands would just be hanging out. I mean, that guy was doing well even back then. But he was really
the real deal.
Well, he's a smart businessman too, though. You know. Yeah. So and I mean, I remember when he did our all the Zorlak shit. Yeah, that's him.
Huge.
But I remember he was designing our cover of Raging Violence. I went into his studio, his art studio in San Francisco, and he was designing that, and right next to it, he had Corrosion of Conformity, Animosity. He was working on both covers at the same time.
No way.
Yeah. But what's funny, I don't even think about that crap till I do these interviews.
I know.
Like, dude, I'm like a Pandora's box once you open me up, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I forget about all that shit until somebody reminds me.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Give me an update on the El Sereno Veterano situation over there. Are they leaving you alone at the bus stop?
Dude, you know what, man? When you live in rural, this is why I'm really looking forward to Kate and talking about Long Beach, because no matter how much you talk about how the changes are going on in L.A., you still have real-world neighborhoods. In my neighborhood, even though it's changing slowly, you're never going to get rid of that type of element. I mean, I just had to whip out a love sock yesterday on the way. And for those of you that don't know what that is, because that's an old-school fucking neighborhood weapon, that's where you just get a master lock with a chain, you put it in a sock, and you whack a motherfucker with that.
That's hot.
You'll drop him within minutes.
That's hot. Well, yeah, he's right about the neighborhoods. They do get better, but at the same time, they don't change, you know. Long Beach is like that.
Hashtag love sock.
Caton, love you, bro.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Cheers.
Hey, Jimmy, stay heavy.
Late.
Late. Good dude.
Yeah,
man.
dude, totally. You know what?
Yeah.
So, it seemed to me, from the outside looking in, that Hyrax was ahead of the curve with the whole thrash and speed metal thing.
You know what it was though? We just liked everything. We listened to, like, you brought up bands like Black Flag. We were listening to a lot of shit. Though we were listening to Boston bands. We were listening to Gangrene. We were listening to SSD Control. So we weren't just in
but
one
also
box.
good rock too.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, like, to me, if it's good, it's good. You know. And I also like bands that had energy and aggression. So it was there was a band called Siege. That was one of the bands that really turned me on. They're from Boston, but we listen to everything. Canadian bands, whatever. If they were good, they were good. But metal, obviously, kind of for me was more of a not just music, but it's also a lifestyle. And I dug, like, a lot of my friends, you'd go over their house and they'd have shitloads of records and
T-shirt collection.
And you'd hang out for hours.
Yeah.
This was even before I started heavily drinking. But you would hang out for hours and just, like, play records. And we were such geeks. Like, our record collections were perfect because you didn't know bunny ears. We all had, like, little cloths to wipe down our records. I mean, I still consider myself a super geek. I really love the whole experience of listening to records and taking them out of the sleeve and putting them on your record table and all that shit,
I got one for you. So Ephraim here is going to trip on this because, post Hyrax, you, Caton, we're talking about you in this episode. So we're going through the first wave of Hyrax.
Okay.
And we're going into other ventures in music. And I remember seeing you play a show at Cal State Long Beach with a band called World Trust.
That's crazy.
And
this is your life? What is this?
Yeah, and it was funny. It was funny because we went, my friends and I, and it was totally like, oh yeah, we had Hyrax in the soundtrack in my backyard because I had a mini ramp. So
on skate.
We listened to Slayer, Black Flag, Blast. Early Megadeth,
Yeah, a lot of bands that you can skate the shit to, man. Just go crazy.
Yeah. And Hyrax and, Beyond Possession.
Yeah, they were great.
Stuff like that.
Great. That bass player is sick in that band.
Yeah, totally.
Canadian badass skate rock. Those guys were
totally,
great.
right?
Yeah. We actually toured with those guys.
Killer. And so anyways, BC Boys, NWA, just the whole realm. So everyone's like, hey, the singer, someone knew that the singer from Hyrax was playing or singing in this band.
Yeah.
So we go to Cal State Long Beach, and this is a Long Beach episode. And I had no idea until you walked in for this interview tonight who was your bass player.
Yeah, Tony from No Doubt. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
No Doubt, this is back before they were really blowing up, and they were a local Orange County band. But, Long Beach and Orange County have this love-hate relationship, too, because a lot of people come to Long Beach from Orange County because they come down there and they go, man, I can actually party here, man. This sounds awesome. So, I got to know him, and I wanted, because if I was, Hyrax is always going to be a thrash metal / whatever you want to call it, band, crossover, heavy metal band, whatever.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but if I'm going to do anything I'm going to do outside of the band, it'll be different because...
Why do it twice?
Yeah, and I'm not going to ever taint the Hyrax thing. To me, it's really important to keep that band's true identity the way it is. But there was a period where I went out and I was working at Zed Records in Long Beach, and I met some great musicians like Tony from No Doubt, and there was a couple other guys that we started jamming with and wanted to do like a hardcore meets James Brown band. I know that's a crazy combination, but growing up, I grew up on James Brown. He's like one of my dudes, So, you get James Brown, Hank Williams, and fucking Howlin' Wolf. What do you need, So we started the concept of trying to bring like hardcore crossover with James Brown, and some of the early shows we did, we played with this band called Inside Out. Yeah.
Zach's band.
Yeah. I had to think about that.
Yeah.
But great band, though. Like, really good band.
Ripping band.
Yeah.
This was like late 80s.
Inside Out killer, dude.
Yeah. So
Zach De La Rocha on drums, right?
Yeah. Well, he's
Revelation
singing.
Records.
Zach was singing.
Zach was a singer.
Oh, he was a singer.
Yeah, and they were good. It was like if you, I don't know, you can mix it with whatever, but it kind of reminded me.
Homie from 108.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had like a soul hardcore vibe, but we started playing shows with a lot of hardcore bands, and it was cool because people were into what we were doing, and it was fun, and that was World Trust, man. That's crazy,
cool.
That. Not that many people know about that. But we did a demo, and it was actually a live recording. I think we recorded at KXLU. We played live in KXLU. and we put it on the wall on Zed Records on a cassette tape, and we sold so many, we couldn't even keep track of them.
That's
it was
awesome.
ridiculous.
That's amazing.
Let's talk about Zed Records now. Ephraim, you have a lot of history there, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know,
That store was great.
How long did you work there for?
I worked there 10 years, man.
What?
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, I mean, that store was, for me now, like, I'll be in the grocery
That's always
store.
had everything. Dude.
Yeah,
Every shirt,
you know what's funny? The store was great because it was a part of the community.
It really was.
But we didn't realize that the community went outside of Long Beach all over the place because we'd have guys come over from Japan and come in there and almost like pillage the store because they knew they could take all the records back to Japan and sell them, you know?
For like 5 times the amount.
Yeah, so, but
there was only you guys and like vinyl.
Yeah.
Vinyl Solutions. So
yeah.
it was like, you know what I mean? You
But in Long Beach, that was it.
The records, you know?
To me, it's still going to always be the store of Long Beach history forever.
Yeah.
Did you buy from the distributors?
Bought direct always. We never went. We hated distributors. We liked the record companies. Like we bought from Discord. We bought from
SST.
Yeah, we bought the SST used to walk the records into the store.
That's so rad.
What was that? What's the Alternative Tentacles? All those people. Big Black. We bought directly from Big Black. My job when I worked at Zed was to make sure that we bought directly from the bands always.
That's cool.
Because it cut out the middleman, which always made us be able to sell the records cheaper.
And it supports the bands directly.
Yeah, and you can also sell the records to the fans for a better price, and that way they love you even more. So,
yeah, they're stoked, right?
I mean, the distributors are cool, don't get me wrong. We deal with some, but we always tried to go, because I distribute records too, so I can't say I hate myself. But we would love to always buy from the bands. I mean, we had bands like NoFX drive to the store and open their trunk, and we would just go out to their car and buy the shit out of the trunk.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we had The Damned, we had 7 Seconds, all these different bands, you know, come in and do in-stores, and there would be kids running across the parking lot over car hoods, you know, just crazy shit. That store lasted a long time, and it was because of the fans, you know, and I owe so much to the owner, Mike Zampelli, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had a job, and you know, it was a great place to work, and I got to meet. You know, I mean, G.G. Allen came there a couple of times.
Yeah,
G.G. Allen came in.
Came in, tried to sell us his jock strap, and we were so mortified we didn't buy it, but we should have, because kids. People that love him. It's insane. We did end up buying a bunch of his poetry books and records that he had with him on tour, and we sold out of them the same day.
What?
Yeah, he was huge. Like, people can say whatever they want about G.G. Allen.
He was really big.
But he was a huge star, and he's probably even bigger now. But we sold everything we had. We sold the same day he brought it, and he left in probably within an hour. Because people were calling. People were scared to come into the store when he was there. But when he was left, they came down and bought
you know how rad that is? Imagine people still scared of you. They're like, I'm not going to go in that
well,
there.
Also, you have to realize back then, there's no internet. So you just heard stories.
It would be phone
and they would get
calls
turned into these crazy stories like, dude, I heard G.G. Allen fucking swallow dynamite, it's going to explode.
But I will tell you this. I'll tell you this, though. He was the real deal. Like, no dope.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen him live, and I've also met him in person.
Where'd you see him live?
I saw him in San Diego at this club, a Star or something, but another person's yelling at the radio right now. But I saw him down, and he destroyed the club in 20 minutes.
What did he do?
Everything.
I want the play-by-play.
Everything that he's known for. He pissed shit, had the smallest penis I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
He didn't just stay on the stage. He came off the stage and into the crowd and just destroyed. And I'll be honest with you, even I was scared. I was actually hiding behind people when he would start throwing. When he started throwing the poop,
gross.
When the poop hit the fan, you would duck behind somebody. Dude. But the show only lasted 20 minutes because he busted like a pipe behind the bar. Because he even went to the bar and just started knocking down glasses, and I mean, it was crazy. Awesome show, though.
Awesome.
And I remember that afterwards, I went out to the van because I knew him because I was actually a pen pal. This is, like you said, before the internet.
Yep.
And just seeing him off. I even have a picture of him driving off all bloody in the van. Just all he put on was a leather jacket. He was pretty much completely naked. Cowboy boots, leather jacket.
Naked.
Beanie. Naked beyond that. Blood all over him, and he just got in his roadie, drove him off.
Who
to
does
the next
that?
gig. Well, that guy used to have to have a recuperation period after tours because he would be so beat up.
It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, he really was the real deal. So,
correct me if I'm wrong. the deal with the band was like, if you go for GG Allen, they had to use your gear. And they'd come in, and they would tape plastic bags over the amps and shit.
But
and then your gear would just get trashed anyway.
I mean, you've never seen anything like it. Like, he'd stick drumsticks up his butt, just crazy shit. Like, I'm keeping this interview real. I mean,
remember he had that naked drummer too, right?
Well, when I saw him, his brother was one of the guitar players. Merle. Yeah, Merle was in the band, and they were
Merle Allen, right?
But they were awesome. I'm telling you, like, if you want to be scared, go to a GG Allen show.
Oh my god,
it was the real deal.
Probably the punkest shit I've ever seen.
It was the real deal.
Everything you said is completely true, obviously, but it was so bad. I remember I went to Middle Earth Records in Downey, probably my freshman year, and I bought the cassette, the VHS boot. They had a big bootleg section.
Yeah. Remember bootleg VHS?
And I bought it, and I had to wait till my parents left to watch it.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
but
14.
That's always the coolest when your parents have to leave before you can put on a record.
But I was like, dude, this is like punk rock.
Yeah,
and it's just gnarly. But it was the infamous gas station show where there was a show at an abandoned gas station.
It was his last show. The crowd chased him down the street. Remember,
dude? Yeah, he was just hitting everybody.
But can I tell you what's really funny?
The gas station in New York.
I'm sure he was different with everybody else.
The crowd chased him.
Yeah, like 75 people chasing GG Allen down the street.
But I actually
they turned on him finally.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Yeah, they either loved him or really hated him. But I'll tell you this: the experiences I always had with him. What I learned about GG Allen was that if he was on stage, you were the enemy. But off stage, he was actually really nice.
He was straightforward, right? Yeah. Off stage is cool.
Off stage, he's cool. On stage, you're the enemy.
Everyone's the enemy.
I read this.
Even if he knew you, you're the fucking enemy once he's on stage.
Right. You know what you're getting into when you're going to the show.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a Z record moment, because this is a Long Beach episode.
For sure.
Let's start with that from.
I always felt really guilty because I had this band many years ago called Clint, and we played there, and my friend went there and stole an Exploited t-shirt. And I felt guilty about that forever because I love that store. And I never told anyone that my friend stole the Exploited t-shirt off the wall because I felt so bad.
It's funny. It's like years later, people will tell us stuff like
they'll confess, right?
And I get it.
I felt so bad because I was like, what are you doing?
And, it does suck, but it's just part of punkers.
It's a component, right?
It just is.
It's a component, right?
We tried our best to keep an eye on shit, but at the same time, you don't want to make customers feel like they're being watched either. So it's kind of a fine line to walk. But that store, it doesn't matter. There were so many great things that happened, and it was such a great thing for people that needed a place to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember, there were a lot of fucked up people in this world. They need a place to go. And basically, Z Records had our arms open for every screwed up individual who ever lived.
Come and hang out all day, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, I still, to this day, I just saw the owner the other day. I was walking down one of my favorite streets in Long Beach. It's a street called Broadway. It's the fucking best. And the owner lives on that street, so I ran into him, and every time I see him, I basically thank him for hiring me and let me work there.
That's cool, man.
Because I think once you get older, see, when I worked for him, I wasn't that appreciative.
But you appreciate that.
Now when I look back on it, yeah, dude, we were selling Ramones records to people who love the Ramones.
That's cool.
That's huge.
People coming in that you'll see 20 years later that remember buying Rockaway Beach single or
sick,
or
Beat on the Brad or something,
or buying the second Ramones album, Leave Home, and they that record they still have. You can't pay enough for that.
Yeah,
that's something that's
you're attached to that memory they have, and that's why we all get into music and stay in it. So it's creating those moments.
But the other thing is, working there, I also had some moments where I would have somebody like Jello call the store, or I had a lawyer from SST Records come in one time, and I told her to go fuck off. And
What happened?
It was about bootlegs. And I was like, you think we're the only store selling bootlegs? Are you kidding me?
In the world, right?
Black Flag in Long Beach, there's a few bands that are like godly. Black Flag's one of them.
Yeah.
But I kind of got reprimanded for telling her that because I didn't see. It wasn't my store, so for me to tell her to go fuck herself wasn't really smart. So my boss was like, next time just try not to do that.
Right.
Lawyers are a little difficult. But no, a lot of great stories. Steve Albini,
Colin.
Yeah, calling the store.
No way.
Yeah, dude. Ian McKay, who's one of my favorites. Like, everybody has different punk icons.
Yeah.
Something about Ian McKay, the way he does his business, the way he works. You know, his record is proven as far as I'm concerned. You know, even stuff after Minor Threat, Fugazi.
Oh, Fugazi's amazing.
You know, he's done a lot of great work.
Unbelievable, dude.
So, you know, having guys like that call the store and say, you know, what was cool about him was he knew we were bootlegging their stuff. And he would just call and say, hey, we don't make fucking shirts. You guys owe me some money.
Wow.
Just transparent,
at least he was smart enough to come collect his money, and we paid him.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Then it was cool. It was like, hey, we can keep making this shit. You know? So, I mean, I remember Rancid calling the store, and this is right when they started Rancid, and we were making Op IV stuff, and they were one of our biggest sellers. We paid them all the time.
Wow.
We made their merch all the time and sold the shit out of it.
That's great.
So I remember them calling me saying that they were having a hard time dealing with the popularity of Op IV. They probably still are, because that's one of the greatest punk bands of all time.
And imagine how much volume they sell.
Yeah, but we sold a ton.
Jeez.
If they played a show today, if they announced it tonight, they'd sell at the Palladium tomorrow.
They could play the Palladium 10 nights.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, they can. Yeah.
Op IV at the Hollywood Bowl.
Most people would buy 10 nights worth of tickets.
Right.
But yeah, so we dealt with that kind of shit all the time. I mean, it was just amazing to be in that store. The people that would either come in. I remember Wool playing in the store and David Grohl coming in.
Amazing.
Oh, the Stahl brothers?
Yeah, and him just hanging out. And I gave him some records, and David Grohl couldn't believe it, because we were that cool. Like, if you came in and we had bootlegs, we'd give you some just to keep everything cool, you know?
Right.
And he was like, I don't have to buy these. I'm like, dude, those are your records. What am I going to charge you?
Was it Nirvana already? No, Scream.
No, he was still playing. No, it was some Nirvana shit. He had just, it was Nirvana. It was Nirvana.
Wow.
You know, those bands, we couldn't even keep another band that we couldn't keep in stock ever was the Replacements. We sold that shit like it was hot cakes. Yeah, we sold out of their shit all the time.
And they're playing again now.
Yeah, that store, dude, I'm telling you, that store was way ahead of its time.
Completely.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there with any of the greatest punk stores of all time, and I was fortunate enough to work there. But I had great guys I worked with. I worked with Raul, I worked with Big Frank, and I worked with Mike Zed. Me and Mike Zed were buddies, and we worked together all the time, so it was awesome. And he now works for the L.A. Kings, so God bless him.
Really?
Man. He's ruling it. Yeah, he runs the L.A. Kings website.
Good for him, right?
Yeah. So it shows you a punker can do something, man.
Yeah. That's amazing.
You know, the first time I met you, I was working at SST.
Yep.
And I wasn't spending time in Long Beach. And
dude, once you get to know that town, you fall in love with it.
You fall in love. Okay, we're going to take a break and listen to some new Hyrax.
Ooh.
We're going to come back and reveal.
Tell us about what we're going to hear?
Yeah, tell us about it.
I don't know what you have queued up. Can I pick one?
Well, you know what? Let's play it and tell us what we heard.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can, start with the opening track.
And we're going to
start from the top.
The CD order.
Black Smoke.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, cool.
Cheers.
push comes to shove. Let the decay of simulation of life, survivors will have everything. Never surrender, never bow down, my family will avenge. The sight of war, Maxwell feels the air. The sight of war, send the man to hell. deafening sounds of misery. Savage lands of slavery, forced prey to their god. Crusaders reign of terror and slay the release the victims of all. Release the victims of the dead. Release the victims of all. Release the victims of all. Dead.
Welcome back to Los Angeles Nisa, episode 129, Long Beach episode. Co-host Ephraim Scholes.
Yo!
From ASG Guitars, Death by Stereomatic Hispanic, and the in-studio guest, Keaton from Hyrax. What's up?
What up?
What's up, Keaton?
Pizza and Paps.
What about this pizza we just had from Poppy's Pizza in downtown? Wasn't that some good pizza?
Poppy's Pizza's nailing it.
I would like everyone to give a round of applause for Poppy's Pizza. Thank you very much, Poppies.
They're always
We need to
delivering.
be like a 50s radio show where we're like, Poppy's Pizza, they're the place.
Do a little doo-wop.
You know, yeah, like
Doo-wop, you know?
I think you just did it.
Some oogum boogum. Boogum.
Hey, really quick.
What's up?
You guys brought up so many epic bands, and there's one band I feel is extremely important that has been overlooked.
Okay.
Leeway.
Oh, man, they're great. I saw them on their first U.S. tour with the Bad Brains and Sick of It All. Amazing.
You told me you had a Bad Brain story.
Oh, I got many.
Well, let's hear the one that you, in particular, because it sounded like you were going to go in an amazing direction a second ago.
Well, I don't know which one to pick because there's like, I worked with them. I've been around them. They're an amazing band.
How about this? I'll share one when I worked at SST, and you feed off that because you probably have more experiences than I do.
No, let me start. I got one.
Go, do it.
This one's hot. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a true geek, right? So I like everything from toys to comic books to records and
to
stuff
Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, Eddie Van Halen, especially Atomic Punk era.
Yeah.
So I go out to New York, and I have to go to Woodstock, New York, which is where the Bad Brains are set up. That's their camp. So it's awesome where they live because it's basically like, I'm not really a hippie guy, but it's very like hippie-ish. Like people live and there's communes and all this stuff.
That's crazy.
Hills, places you can drive out. You can drive out and just sit by a lake and smoke and nobody will come over and mess with you. But anyway, so I have a day off in between these rehearsals and I go to this magic shop because they live in this really cool area where there's like just shops. You can go get a bagel in the morning, whatever you want to do. But there's this magic shop. So I walk into the magic shop, and as soon as I walk in, I see this awesome Dracula doll. I'm like, I got to have that, man.
That's rad.
Yeah, Dracula's just sitting in this glass case. So I buy the Dracula doll. I take it back to Dr. No's house, the guitar player from Bad Brains. And he goes, you got to get that out of here.
What?
And I'm like, dude, just like you, man. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? It's Dracula.
Yeah.
Dr. Acula.
Yeah, he's all, it's not positive.
PMA, dude.
No
it's not positive.
way.
Yeah, so I had to go to a mail shop down the street from Dr. No's house, box it up, and send it back to my house in Los Angeles.
No way.
They were weird.
Very weird.
Over
That's
a doll.
great. No, that's so great. That's exactly, dude. When people say like, "Oh, dude, I was so bummed I met the dude from the band and he was a dick." Blah, blah. No, I love that shit. When people are weird or awkward or don't want to talk to you, it's just way cooler, dude.
The doll freaked him out so bad, I had to mail it back to my house.
That's amazing.
But he let that penetrate him. Like, that can't be here.
You can't even trip on that. You know who was cool, though? The bass player, Daryl Jennifer, man. Awesome dude. His wife makes the best tofu you've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, the tofu tastes like what we're eating right now. She can make it taste like anything.
Wow.
So to Daryl Jennifer's wife, tofu queen, man.
I love that.
I got a funny one.
You want to hear it?
Yes, please.
So I worked at SST for a long time, right? And when Black Flag did the reunion in 2003, that 3 weeks leading up to those two Palladium shows, they would rehearse at SST.
Okay.
And Greg was like, it was one of those labels where it's like, oh, you're just the employee and leave. It's just like, hey, you're more than welcome to come to the back room and watch us play. There's food and beers, hang out, or coffee, whatever your trip is.
Go do it, man.
Yeah, so I watched Black Flag rehearse like a lot.
Was Chuck playing bass?
No, it was Robo on drums, Cell on bass, the last bassist, Dez singing, and Greg playing guitar. And so at that time, HR was around, and he would be like, doing his thing with Greg, smoking, and those two together is a pretty interesting combination.
I bet, dude.
A lot of people haven't seen that.
That's like a left shoe and a left shoe hanging out.
Yeah. Imagine he's just back and forth, just sharing it up. It's like, whoa, dude. I was like, okay, gotta go now. So anyways, there was arrangements for Bad Brains to open the show at the Palladium for Black Flag. Well, the communication didn't happen that it's not going to happen. So they showed up for sound check.
Bad Brains did?
Yeah.
No way.
Because they thought they were still playing.
That's messed up.
And so I had to break the news to them.
I wouldn't have wanted that job.
How do you just not let the Bad Brains play?
So I told the Bad Brains they're not playing with Black Flag tonight.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's like
that's
Will
retarded.
Ferrell. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And then then Greg gave me HR's number, and I called HR.
Wow, was that before HR hit the fan like now, where he's all weird?
I think he was about, it was like 2003. So I don't know. But I called him and I told him what was happening.
Wow.
And he just went into this like psychotic laugh. And then went into this whole thing how if he could get Rick Ocasek.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And that, there will be a sum of $1 million coming to everybody.
If he could get Rick Ocasek back.
And then he got into this whole thing about something else, that higher consciousness that
they get crazy with that shit
that I didn't understand back then, but now I do. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's I understand.
Man, they got Rick Ocasek back one time.
Yeah, but you can't.
One time,
sometimes
remember?
You can't recapture the magic. Did that Rock for Light album? One of the greatest hardcore records ever made.
Hardcore doesn't matter after Bad Brains.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
We got one more phone call from Jimmy Cabs. He has some input.
I like Jimmy's he's sitting there just freaking out like, I gotta tell those guys.
Do it. What's up?
Jimmy.
Dude, the best fucking HR story is the one that's from Sereno. It's HR and Steve. Remember fucking Sky Saxon?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Dude, they're in a party in El Sereno, and they're fucking, like, way fucking beyond the moon high, right?
Yeah.
And then, like...
Spacewalking?
Dude, in El Sereno, the real celebrities, from a certain organization that I don't want to mention, you know what I mean? like the veteranos with, it's a fraternity type. These dudes walk in, right?
Yeah.
And HR is fucking blabbling like a fucking maniac to this guy who just got out of San Quentin, bro. And this guy is right about to rock his world. And I go up to him and go, dude, that's HR for the Bad Brains. This guy's been locked up like 25 fucking years. He doesn't know who fucking HR is.
Yeah.
But the raddest thing was to see fucking Sky Saxon and fucking HR puffing on the same bong, dude. It's fucking
That's hot.
That rules, guys.
All right, I had to throw that out there, man. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right. Can I tell you this, though? We were just last year in Brazil, and we had the same liaison as the Bad Brains, and I guess they're still touring. I had seen some footage that kind of disturbed me about the Bad Brains because HR just seems so... I don't know if he's ever going to come back, man. I don't know what he's been doing, but...
He's living free, man.
Yeah, he's way out there. But so our liaison, which is like a road manager for us, he is, hey, Caton, I got to tell you, you guys are a pleasure to work with. I go, well, what's like the weirdest person you've ever worked with? He goes, well, most recently, HR. I had to like basically babysit him. And he said, I go, well, tell me. He goes, well, it's like you'll ask him a question and he'll go, nope. And I'm like, did I hear that right? And he goes, yeah. I go, hey, HR, are you hungry? He goes, nope. Like, what does that even mean? Like, hey, HR, hey, we're going to sound check time. You ready?
Maybe he's just over it. Work smarter, not harder.
I think that's what it is with those guys. They think everybody should know what they're talking about. So they think they can come up with any word. It's like if my wife says, are you ready? I go, you know what I mean? Like some guys, just when they get to a certain level with their music, they think everybody should know what they're talking about.
Right. Is that ego?
I think in a way it is, but when people still ask me questions, I hope that I always will say yes or no, or, so they can understand me. I think it saves time.
That reminds me of a tangent, but remember Rocky Cola Cafe in Whittier?
I do.
Uptown Whittier? When Dan Palmer used to work there, Dan from Death by Stereo, there was this guy that used to come in, and Dan would, he gets so fucking mad, dude. He'd go to his table, and, what do you want to eat? And, like, just knowing what he's getting, the guy would go, woof. and so then Dan's like, just would run a Coke or whatever. What do you want to, what do you want to drink? Or what do you want to have on the side? Arf.
Yeah.
The guy would woof or arf. So it got to the point where Dan goes to work and the guy's there. And Dan walks up to his table and he goes, woof. And the guy's like, arf. Just go back and just go get him food.
That's crazy. Just
I don't know how he did it.
At that point, you just get him what he wants.
Yeah.
Or get him what you want.
You got to give the people what they want.
But yeah, so it's kind of sad for me to see guys that were my heroes get that messed up. You know, like,
you know what though? I'm going to say this. Bad Brains, obviously, AHR's at a much different place now than he was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But even 10 years ago, he was doing some trippy shit.
Yeah.
And everybody would get so mad. They'd be like, man, I saw the Bad Brains back in the day. He's doing fucking backflips. And I go, you know what, dude? I'm going to be totally honest with you. Because sometimes he's just perfectly on, you know, with his voice and everything.
Yeah.
I go, he sang great tonight. And it made it 20 times better that he walked out on stage holding a sleeping bag and a backpack, wearing a backpack on the front. And like, I go, you know what? That was way more entertaining for me than whatever your show story was from back in the day with the riot. Not as funny as when he walked on stage with a sleeping bag.
He's the first musician I've ever seen who doesn't leave his stuff backstage. He brings it on stage with him.
You know what, though, dude?
Like, most guys leave their bag, you know, in the backstage room, and he doesn't do that.
I want to say this. I'll put my backpack by the drum riser all the time, dude.
You're funny.
That's funny.
All the time
That
on
is
tour.
hilarious.
I'm paranoid, dude.
Dude, like, what, you afraid that somebody's going to steal your Q-tips or something? Like,
baby mouthwash?
Yeah.
Right? Maybe
Yeah.
a little bit.
I'm totally that guy.
well, I have to admit, everybody's got their little things, you know, like everybody has their, before they go on stage, rituals. I wish there was a documentary just on bands backstage before they go on.
The rituals are ridiculous.
Everybody has rituals.
Everybody's got weird ones,
You know
weird
what my
sounds,
favorite?
weird
My favorite
things.
is even just picking them up. Joey Ramone.
He's OCD, right?
Yeah, his were where he had to skip a step each way down a stair. You know, like if he had to walk downstairs.
No way.
And if he didn't get it right, he'd start all over again.
Yeah. He's completely OCD.
Yeah.
That's why Howard Stern would love talking to him because he was OCD also.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Joey, if he didn't get it right, he would, and they say that would take like hours to get him in the tour van.
No way.
Yeah, because he would have to start all over again. I mean, I have a little bit of that. I'm the guy who checks his door 2 or 3 times before he leaves the house, but that's because I don't want my shit gone.
Always do the idiot check after the show.
I do super idiot checks.
Right.
My wife can attest to that.
Intense
So
idiot check.
I got a Long Beach question. Let's shift and get into the
Let's
Long
do
Beach
some Long
Mecca
Beach,
right now.
Yeah.
So check this out, man. You know, I want to know. I mean, you're the guy when I think of Long Beach.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I do love that town. I really do.
I know you do, and it shows. One thing that I want to know is growing up, you know, in the 80s, junior high, it was always seemed like it was a very metal KNAC town. It always facilitated some sort of music culture.
Yeah.
Didn't it? And now it's going strong. Is that what keeps you there?
Well, the bars actually keep me there, but no, that's okay. There's a few things. I like that you can actually, if you do, I don't want to bum everybody out that doesn't drink, but if you drink, like it's the perfect town because everything's in walking distance.
Because you have legendary bars like Ferns.
Yeah, and we also have the oldest bar in that city there's a place called Joe Jost, and I actually took you there many years ago.
Did.
That's
the one.
Dude,
Okay.
that bar, is it turning 90 this year?
Wow.
It's 90 years old.
Joe's.
Yeah. I took you there, we hung out and had some beers there many years ago. But that place is it's like the Golden Grail. Like this place is so awesome. It's in one of the, it's not the worst neighborhood, but it's in a pretty kind of wicked neighborhood.
Right.
And it's such a legendary bar that even the riffraff know not to go into it.
They just stay out of it.
They will not even go in there.
I love it.
It's like they're, it scares the hell out of them to go in there because everybody that goes there is hardworking. They just got off work.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, whether it's bricklaying or painting houses or, whatever they do, they go there for a couple of big schooners of ice cold beer,
Take a load off.
But everything's in walking distance. It's kind of similar to San Francisco, which I love that town a lot.
We were talking about that prior.
But we don't have the hills. I mean, anything that's like San Francisco would probably be San Pedro, which is another great place.
Pedro's great.
Yeah, Pedro's
But Long Beach
awesome.
is really vibey like San Francisco, man.
It's got a nice vibe.
Energy.
It's got that, and it kind of reminds me of Portland, and I love Portland, too. So, if there are a few places I'd want to live, would be either Portland, San Francisco, or Long Beach, where I live, And so, everything's really close. You can get around real easy if you're not lazy. You can walk to downtown Long Beach and from our house, we live over by say Temple and 7th. You can walk from there for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You can be downtown and hit a couple of bars on the way.
Awesome.
Like, so weekends there, you don't even have to move your car. Like, my wife comes
Car
home,
free.
park the car. The car.
That's another great thing about Long Beach. You can be car free in Long Beach.
Yeah, you get for the weekend,
Fabulous.
Friday through Sunday, you don't have to move your car. You can walk, you can take a bus, you can take a taxi, whatever you want to do. And I like that there's a lot of different cultures. That's probably the thing. Okay, let's get real. Like, I think it's the diversity. I mean, we got everybody there. So there's really
Cambodians.
there's everything.
Everything.
We're gay. We're Cambodians. We're black. We're white. We're from Scandinavia. We're from South America. We're from Central America. We are everybody. Long Beach is like what I would want everywhere to be, because I think when you're surrounded by different cultures, it opens up your mind, and then you realize you got to base it on whether people are dicks instead of their skin color.
Right.
Like, if you're a dick, you're just a dick.
Right.
But
no matter what, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got everything there. It's a great city, and it's really rootsy, and people respect each other, and sometimes they don't, but I like that too.
It is what it is.
Well, you know what's really funny? I'm just going to go off to this. I make a little right turn really quick.
Okay.
You know, there's been like huge metal and rock history because of KNAC for so long.
And also the Long Beach Arena.
Now, you know.
Scream for me, Long Beach.
Yeah. I mean, Iron Maiden couldn't sell that amount of tickets anywhere else in the world but there.
Especially there.
And then, like, you know, it just seems like one of the landmark shows for Metallica was opening for Ozzy at Long Beach Arena.
Yeah.
You know, and you had, like, the radio station. There's no internet. People are listening to it on their airwaves. They're championing this kind of music.
Yeah.
And they're going to see this music there.
Yeah, it's almost sad because KNAC like was the shit at that time. So the time period you're talking about, and even for it to be gone, like, this is great that there's a station like this now. This is awesome because like now I see that it kind of reminds me of the early days of KNAC where people were starting to get behind something, you know, and that for that to go down like it did, it's really sad because it was needed. Like, I think even now, if that station was still on, you could have it also on the internet. So it'd be worldwide, where 24/7 people could tune in and listen to heavy metal, and there's still a big market for it. Like,
of course,
sometimes
it's enormous.
Well, what I think is awesome is people don't even realize it's almost like there are people that are so metal they don't even show it. Like, they're listening to it in their house, or they're like in their car on the way to their job, because there's it ain't just us anymore.
I got a cousin who's 46, right? And he's like, okay, when I was growing up, he's like 6 years old. You know, he's like, 7 years older than me, right? So I didn't have a big brother, so I kind of looked up to him, right? He BMX, always into metal. And to this day, dude, he lives in Long Beach.
That's awesome.
And you go to his house, like on a day off, on a summer, the screen door is open, and all you hear is like Testament.
That's awesome.
Or like Slayer, and he's just on the couch, passed out, with a bunch of beer. With I was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Hanging out." He's like, "Come over and listen to metal with me."
That's way long.
That's so rad.
Like, just drink beer and listen to metal really loud.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, I think there's just a lot of people. Whether I
come over and listen to metal with me.
That's Long Beach. I wouldn't say it's that people are hiding. I just think there's a lot of people that also have regular jobs.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of metalheads there, and but I think now there's a lot of metalheads everywhere. But Long Beach is just real strong like that, and you know, we have a lot of cultural things to do there. There's the Mula. There's a Mula
museum.
It's all kinds of Spanish cultural art, and
museum.
And on Sunday, I'll give you some lowdowns. On Sundays, it's free,
dude.
So you got to roll down there and check out like this
Museum of Latin American Art, free, right on Shoreline Village.
It's right by there. Yeah.
Let's figure this out right now. How can we get to that museum from Skidrow Studios without a car? Let's figure this out.
Blue line.
I'll tell you. You go from right here, 643 South Olive. You walk across the street to the Red Line. At 6 and Olive, you pay. Say you have a day pass already.
All right.
You take the Red Line. One stop going to Union Station. One stop going to North Hollywood to the 7th Metro. Transfer to the Blue Line. Take it to the very end.
Boom.
Get off and just walk on 7th.
Well, what I suggest, once you get off at the very end of the Blue Line, first you walk over to House of Hayden, have a beer.
Yeah, that's what I want, routine. Let's do it.
And then
Let's do it.
you take House of Hayden, which is right next to the old Fender Ballroom site where that landmark is still there, but now it's a hotel. But you walk past that, you get to Alamitos, flip a left, start walking, and there's another bar called the V Room. Stop in there for a cocktail. Or have a beer, whatever. But about 2 blocks from there, there's Moolah, and it's on Alamitos, and you can find it. And if you have an iPhone or whatever, or just go on the internet, it's right there. And on Sundays, it's free. And I go there a lot because it's awesome. Sometimes they have Day of the Dead festivities on that day, and there's always some kind of things happening where there's people in there and they're just having a good time. And there's art. Sometimes they'll paint your face. I mean, it's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I love? The fact that you come in onto the show very well versed as a resident and someone who not only is a resident, but you should go out and buy local, support local business.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what's
I
up.
mean, there's a few positive things here. The first thread is like, you could go to Long Beach, enjoy the different bars that only exist there because they're all independent bars, and do it car-free and not drinking and driving. You're drinking and not driving.
Well, yeah, I try to make a serious rule of not drinking and driving. I'm not trying to sound like a saint because I'm not.
It's not worth it.
I've done some stupid shit in my time. But as you get older, and I'm not trying to preach to any of the younger kids. I'm just saying it's like you got to think about there's people out there that are, somebody's dad, somebody's sister, somebody's brother, somebody's mother, and you'd feel like an asshole if you killed them while you were drunk. So, plan out your drinking. Plan out what you're going to do. Think about a course of action. Like you said, the Blue Line's great. You will get some free entertainment while you're on the Blue Line.
Tell us about something you've seen.
Let's get a little...
Man!
What's a good one you've seen lately?
Okay, my wife is the daredevil. I'm not. I'm the paranoid guy. She's over there. But I'm the guy. I'm always watching my back. I think it's a smart way to be. And once I got married, I got more paranoid about shit because I'm more worried about her than I am about myself.
Yeah.
Me, I don't care. Like, I can get drunk, tackle me, whatever. But when you're with somebody you care about, you're trying to watch it. But my wife's like, first time I ever rode it, she's like, we're going to take the Blue Line. And I do like trains, but I've been on ones that are way safer and nicer and cleaner.
Okay. Tell us the experience of taking a subway train in Japan.
Oh, my God. Awesome. All right. First off, before you get on it, they have cleaning crews. The cleaning crew goes on at every stop before you're allowed to even get on the train. So you have to wait like 10 minutes, which is worth it because when you get on, you're sitting on a nice, clean train.
And smells.
They go in,
legit,
which
dude.
provides jobs. The problem I have with L.A. and even Long Beach when it comes to this train stuff, people are talking about unemployment. It's like you could have people that clean the trains. You could have extra security, which...
Right.
I mean, I'm cool with danger. I mean,
But there's a lot of little kids.
Yeah, and there's
people that
that are
aren't.
getting off jobs that are ladies that are trying to get home to their families.
Exactly. Right.
And they're riding the train. But Japan they're just, the Japanese are awesome. And this room is like 100,000 degrees hot.
Yeah, we have to have the AC off the mics.
I feel like a crack addict right now. It's so hot in here. But anyway, so... the Japanese are awesome. They clean the trains. Yeah, everything's cleaned before you get on the train. Versus here in Los Angeles. But everything I'm going to tell you, before I say it, I'm going to tell you I will still ride the train no matter what because for $1.50 one way from downtown Long Beach to downtown LA, I will ride with the devil. All right? Seriously,
but
you can't beat that.
Every year the train's getting better and better. Buses are getting better and better. Public transportation has changed a lot.
I hope so, but I'm just saying I'm used to like going to countries where you actually get on and there's really like you don't even see people act out. Well, let's get down to the LA train system. You better be ready for anything because anything can happen. It's not a bad thing. I don't want to discourage people from riding it. I want to say that right now. I don't want to discourage them. I'm just saying sometimes it's better to just look straight ahead, ride the train to where you're going, pay attention to the stops because you will be entertained. Like first time we rode it, some dude, and I realized if you have your girl with you, make her sit on the inside.
Yeah, right.
Dudes always sit on the outside.
Just like when you walk on a sidewalk.
Yeah, same with the train. Yeah. Make your lady sit on the inside because there will be some dudes coming down that might not be paying attention or being weird. So anyways, we're riding it. My wife's all stoked. She's all acting like we're on a field trip. She's loving it. And I'm still like, I'm in protector guard. I'm like looking around, checking everything out. So this guy stands up And he has a cane, and he's got sunglasses on, and mind you, it's nighttime.
Sunglasses at night?
Yeah,
and a cane?
Yeah, and I'm
Hard
cool with
style.
that. I mean, I get style. You want to wear your sunglasses at night? Fine, whatever. But he starts singing, and he's kind of like dancing with the cane, and he's singing, he's coming down the train. The train's moving while this is going on. So it just figures he's walking past many people, but right when he gets to us, he stops. And I guess that's just my luck. But he stops, and I'm already tired of him because he's been singing the whole way before he even got to me. He's just singing some crazy song, and he's just singing and dancing. Stops. And I'm thinking about ready to yell at him, like, dude, mellow out, you know? But he lifts up his sunglasses, and I realize he has no eyeballs. He's blind.
Like the real deal blind. No eyeballs.
No eyeballs.
Oh,
But I think he knew that he might get his ass kicked, but I think he thought he should show me his eyes, so I reneged. I was like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
I'm like, sing all you want.
Yeah.
Keep dancing. You know? So I'm just saying you'll run into some crazy stuff. That's probably my craziest story of riding it. And I remember my wife being like, that was kind of crazy.
Right.
You know, but I'm just saying at the same time, it is great transportation. I'm glad they have it. And I suggest to anybody, like, if you figure it out, the routing, it can be awesome. You can come down for a day. Like, we actually, last time we ran into another guy who came down. He'd never been to Long Beach. He rode the train all the way from downtown L.A., and he had a great time. He went to Shoreline Village, which is awesome. Shoreline Village is probably the most safe place. Like,
it's safe.
It's beautiful. It's really nice. You can go over there. There's a lot of boats. You can buy a little yogurt ice cream, hang out with your lady,
and walk around.
Awesome. Go check out the lighthouse. There's a Chili's. I like Chili's.
Tequila Jacks.
Yeah, there's Tequila Jacks.
Get a beer.
There's a bunch of places over there. So I mean,
yeah.
But there's so much more to Long Beach. I mean, it's not the most giant city, but there's a lot there.
Right.
You know,
one thing I like doing that I recently discovered was, you know, I went to the Aquarium of the Pacific night dive.
That's awesome.
They have a thing.
I haven't done the nightlife thing though.
No, it's called night dive.
What do they do there?
At night dive, check this out. They do this every quarter, every 3 months. They'll book bands in the aquarium.
That's crazy.
So basically, like, it's a Friday or Saturday night, and you know the main aquarium that's really tall in the main hall. The stage is in front of that, and that's the backdrop. And they put the bubbles on and dim the lights.
That's awesome.
So then there's like bands playing, and it's mostly like indie rock alternative bands. You know,
they don't want anybody that's going to throw a guitar into the glass.
That kind of vibe. But when you walk in on the inside, those little dark rooms where the aquariums are, there's a DJ spinning a certain genre of music with a bar.
Wow.
And then in the outside where the lagoon is, where the shark lagoons, there's 2 different DJs up by the penguins, and then down where you walk in and there's bars. Then the cool thing is like from downtown, you take the blue line for $1.50 till it ends on Pine.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I didn't know this. There's a shuttle that takes you on Pine to the doorstep of the Aquarium of the Pacific.
That's awesome.
So you don't have to
I know
walk.
where that shuttle's at. Yeah, no, the thing is, dude, like now you just cost me because my wife's been wanting to get a pass to the aquarium because we go over there a lot. She's like, I want a pass.
I love it.
And I'm like, I go, we got a tour coming up. To me, I'm one of those people who looks at like monthly, like 12 months in the year. Is this pass going to be worth it? Because I want to use it every month that year. Like I'm going to use it 12 months out of that year. But now we're going to have to, because she loves the aquarium's actually cool. And she's a school teacher, too. So it's like,
that's cool.
Going to the aquarium's awesome. I actually admit, you get in and you start liking it. Like I went there the first time, I was like, and then I get in there. Have you been into the bird exhibition?
I have.
The bird exhibition is awesome.
What's that all about?
It's a huge thing. You walk in and there's birds flying right by your face. It's awesome.
I got checked by
You
birds.
can feed them?
Yeah, one landed on me.
Yeah.
And was like screaming in my ear, and the other one landed and was eating my beard.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
They're used to people, right? They're used to people.
They're used to people, so they even have things that you can buy to feed them. Like you can feed them, they're eating right out of the cup. And these birds aren't small. It's really cool.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different birds in it, but dude, it's basically like
sticking birds, like crows or like parrots?
No, real like parrots and all these. Oh, I can't even say their names. My wife's way smarter than me. That's why I'm with her.
Lyrikeets.
Whenever I need to know something, I go, honey, what's that? But no, the aquarium's awesome. It's not just like sea animals; it's birds and the shark tank is amazing,
dude.
You can stand like you'll get right by the glass and these sharks will swim by and you're like, man, that is insane to see something that big up close and that's that deadly.
And you
That's
know what's
crazy.
funny is like when you look at you'll see a 6-footer or a 7-footer.
Yeah.
And like
I don't like fish.
Imagine the 12-footers.
Yeah,
like
that's insane.
Yeah, it's
they
nuts.
They can take your arm off like just brushing by you.
Here's a fun fact. Now we're talking about San Pedro earlier and all that.
Yeah,
but
San Pedro.
Who remembers Marineland?
I remember Marine Land.
My wife's mom worked there. That's
crazy. I went there.
I think at one point there.
That was like RC World.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Now, what about the Cabrillo Beach Museum? Is that
I think
still
it's
open?
still there. Yeah.
That's right next to Marineland.
My wife's all proud right now. She's all Pedro. She's old school Pedro. Big time.
Really?
Dude, check it out. Her mom was born in San Pedro Hospital. My wife was born in San Pedro Hospital. Her grandmother was born in San Pedro Hospital. They're way Pedro.
That's cool.
San Pedro Pirates, what's up?
What was the coffee house that had punk shows there? Remember there was a coffee house?
Oh, the Waters Club.
What, the Waters Club?
There's
What's
the Dancing
that
Water,
place?
yeah.
What's that place, the coffee shop?
Oh, Ground Zero.
Ground Zero.
Isn't it called Ground Zero?
And it was
Dave.
also home of Recess Records.
Yep. I think it still might be. Hey, what's up, Pedro?
Yeah.
What's up? But yeah, Pedro's a part of it too. Like, I mean, I think we're all kind of like arms and legs of each other. You know, there's a body, you know, but I'm just saying, like, from L.A. to San Pedro to Long Beach, even parts of Huntington and all that stuff. I mean, we're going a little Orange County there, but we're all kind of related in one way or another. It's just like the world in general, but it's really cool because we all have we're like cousins, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're from Whittier or Downey or wherever the hell
It's
you're
pretty
from.
close, right?
We're really close. I mean, everybody, but I will say this, back to Long Beach, everybody comes to Long Beach sooner or later. They have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
dude.
it's a really good
Great
time.
time. Alex's bar?
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah. I was
We
going
love
to
you,
get to
Alex.
that next. Alex is a good dude.
Yeah.
That venue, have you ever played there or gone to a lot of shows there?
Which one?
Alex's.
Oh, yeah. Me and Alex go way back. He's a good dude. I knew him. He used to be the doorman at the Reno Room, which is a legendary bar in Long Beach.
It's a cool bar.
And so that's kind of how I got to know him. And then we did shows together. Me and him did a lot of shows together. We did Wesley Willis. We did. Yeah. Wesley Willis is a whole nother story. I've worked with all the crazies. That's probably why I'm a little crazy myself. Wesley Willis, when his handshake was a headbutt.
Yeah, I remember that. He always had a bruise on his forehead because he'd
had a
head
big bruise on his
him.
forehead. If you met Wesley Willis, you had to headbutt him. My wife's headbutted Wesley Willis. That's why I married that girl.
I
She
remember
can
I watched
hang.
some kid walk up to Wesley Willis, and he was talking to him forever. And Wesley didn't say anything. Tells him this whole thing about how much he loves him. And then right when he stops, Wesley's reply is, "Come on, man, give me a headbutt."
Yeah. Well, that was his thing, man. Yeah,
Rock and roll McDonald's.
Yeah. Bless his soul, man. He passed away. But
I
that
know.
dude was rad.
R.I.P.
We did like 2 shows with him, and believe it or not, he packed venues.
No, he brings people.
Dude, no,
dude.
it was a Casio.
From just living on the street, basically, to just packing venues.
Yeah, crazy. But
Yeah, he brings people, man.
Yeah, but another crazy story is
Because he's good.
another band from Long Beach that I've worked with. Even when I was working at Zeb was Sublime.
Okay.
I got great stories about them.
Would they always come into Zed's?
Zed all the time. We would buy 100 CDs a week.
When they were on K-Rock?
Yeah, we would sell 100 just of their CD a week.
When it was the independent version of it.
40 ounces of freedom. We bought 100
right before it hit on K-Rock.
Before they even got signed.
Wow.
I used to go see
The
them.
self-produced one.
Yeah, I used to go see
Sun
them at
Records.
back parties, and that's when I realized how badass they were. I mean, they're not really totally my thing,
But they're a good band.
I have respect, and I'll tell you the thing is, they were actually cool people. Bradley was a good dude. He's just a little crazy, but a good dude.
Right.
And I'll tell you a story about him that's awesome. This is one of my favorites. This is a good one. People, when they hear it, they're like, "No way, get out of here." Well, he was always a pretty wild kid, and I would always hear stories about him getting kicked out of the 49er, which is Long Beach State's
bar.
It's their bar and campus bar. And one day he came into the store because this is when he started partying and he needed money for partying. So he came in the store to sell some CDs, but he didn't realize his manager, which was this guy named Michael Happenolter. Is that how you say his name? I can't remember. But this Michael guy came in, who was their manager, and he'd sold us 100 CDs, so we were good for the week. But Bradley came in to sell us some CDs because he needed some party money. And I was like, "Dude, we already got 100, dude. I don't need any more." And he's like, "Come on, buy some." I'm like, "Bradley, we're good. Just take the CDs and, you know, maybe come back next week. Talk to your manager so you guys aren't doubling up on the order, you know. But before he left, he was so mad at me, he threw down the CDs on the counter at Zed Records and just started singing at me as loud as he could.
What?
Yeah, he just started singing like as loud as he could. He was so mad that I wouldn't buy the CDs. I think he knew that why fight me, because, you know, it was to be stupid, but he just thought he would sing at me in anger.
He didn't know what else to do.
Yeah, he didn't know what else to do. He was frustrated, and what's crazy about it? The song ruled.
Yeah.
I couldn't even be mad at him. Like, after he left, I'm like, why didn't I record that?
Wow.
Yeah, he sang some awesome reggae song, but loud and mad at me. It was crazy.
An amazing story, dude.
It's a true story, though.
You know what I like about Alex's bar? It's so consistent, I feel.
Well, Alex has built himself up, like, for even before he started that bar.
He's doing shows forever.
Yeah, he's been involved, and he really is a good dude. He's like one of the few good dudes. Like,
that does shows.
Yeah, and just in general, like,
good dude, period.
Even if
Honest
he didn't do
dude, great
shows,
dude,
like, he's the
fun
kind of
dude.
guy you can go out and hang out with, and he's real mild manner. Like, he doesn't get mad unless somebody messes with him. He's a good dude, and I've got a good friendship with him. He's more than just a friend. He's a good guy. So I have nothing but great things to say about him, and he, especially now that the bar's happening, and it's definitely one of the premier places in Long Beach.
Yeah.
You know? But for me, it's tough because Anaheim, that street. I'm one of those guys, like, certain streets I ain't hanging on. Like, I go there once in a while, even though Alex is my boy, I love him. But if it was on 4th or down a little ways, I like it a little,
Right. I mean,
Anaheim's not this. Let's just tell you this. Like, if you want to avoid cops, do not hang out on Anaheim.
Yeah, dude. It is
I don't hang out where the cops are at. Not that I have anything against them, but I drink, so I like to stay away from things. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I mean, all my experiences there. I mean, I go there as a fan. You know, seen bands play. You know, when I worked at SSC, I booked Black Flag there, a secret show, and my bands played there were like Negative Approach and High on Fire.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's always been like a consistent thing from all perspectives: an artist, someone who's booking it, or a fan.
I think the thing is, though, it's kind of a built-in thing, and I'll tell you why. Because Long Beach used to have a lot of great venues. There was Bogart's. We talked about that earlier. Fender's Ballroom. Obviously, the Long Beach Arena. But the problem with the Long Beach Arena, they don't do shows there as much as they should. Like, a lot of major artists should play there.
Totally.
Like, you know, Sabbath should play there.
Instead
They played
of
there.
Staples Center.
Dude, Sabbath played there back in, like, 78 with the Ramones opening.
I heard about that.
Joe Escalante told me about that. He said he was at that show.
Ramones got booed off the stage, which is sad. That shows you the division back then.
Yeah, and I asked you about
punk.
that at the top of the show. So, I mean, in the Ramones book, An American Band, they talk about the San Bernardino show in particular when they supported Sabbath because it was like redneck country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people were just like, fuck these guys.
Yeah. I didn't get to go to the show. I could have went, but I was just probably doing something else. But I remember being bummed out because I liked both bands. I was one of the kids back at that time that liked the Ramones and Black Sabbath. So when I heard that the Ramones got booed off and there was beer bottles and stuff thrown at them, it really sad because I was like, why can't we bring these two together? Because they're both great at what they do. But yeah, that's a legendary story and a legendary show that the Ramones got booed off the stage the night they opened for Black Sabbath at the Long Beach Arena.
Right. And you know, it's another show. Metallica playing with Ozzy at the Long Beach Arena.
People were diving off the balconies.
That's crazy.
I was in the parking lot. See, the thing is, like, it was kind of weird because Metallica had gotten pretty big. They were coming up the ladder. You know, that was their breaking point. When they got that Ozzy tour, from that point on, they just... But I was still in the mood, like when you're in a band and you're like, oh, I'm not paying to go in there. So I'm in the parking lot hanging out, drinking. I think the last time I saw them was actually when they played there with, I think Queensryche was opening.
Right.
And they were whipping the seat cushions out of the
Justice for All
chairs.
tour.
They were just seat cushions. It looked like, dude, I'm going to be honest with you, that Metallica show with Queensryche opening, Queensryche got off and then Metallica was playing, and it looked like bats were flying in the Long Beach Arena because those were seat cushions. There were so many seat cushions. They caused so much damage. It was thousands and thousands of dollars of seat damage from fans.
That was the Injustice for All tour.
Yeah.
That's so rad.
But the tour they did with Ozzy, I was in the parking lot drinking beer by their tour bus.
All right, so I got to ask you before we go, because we got to wrap it up here. Where do you go for Mexican food in Long Beach?
That's tough because I'm a huge Mexican food fan. Like, I eat Mexican food probably 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
And then the other 2 days is pizza, like we had tonight, which was awesome. I got to say two for right now. There's actually way more. But my number one place, and it's just because I'm really weird, as you all know. But I'm weird in the sense that I don't like to pay for something and not have it be awesome quality every time. So I go.
Nothing weird about that.
I go to the same
You
place.
like consistency,
all the
right?
time,
That's
but
what I like.
Supermex is on.
Supermex is good.
Yes,
You ever go to Junior Mex? Get it to go?
Well, yeah, that's part of the thing. But I go to Supermex. They also catered my wedding, so I'm
Nice.
loyal. And then there's a new place. Is it called? What's the new place? The new place, Merced on Broadway.
I saw that on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah.
Hey, maybe we can take the train down there one day and all meet up and have dinner.
Bring it.
Wouldn't that be cool? That dinner with
Hey, the blue
Caden
line,
and his wife.
The blue line ends in
Long
Long Beach. If you come down south, the blue line ends in Long Beach. Come party.
It's not a question of if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen.
I know we got to go, but did you guys go over that guitar yet, or are you going to do that later?
Oh, the Motorhead guitar.
The Motorhead guitar.
We're going to put it right here. This is the brand new Motorhead guitar. The second issue.
This is the prototype.
By ASG here.
The second one we've made.
And we're world premiering it here. Thank you, ASG Guitars and Todd Singerman.
Todd Singerman, everyone
from Singerman
at Motorhead.
Entertainment, who manages Motorhead.
VJ, everyone at ASG that worked so hard on this. This is cool.
And of course, Ephraim.
Yes. Thank you. And this is available for pre-sale April 1st at artistseriesguitar.com.
Nice.
Motorhead for life.
Right.
Motorhead, great
Caden,
band.
thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you,
My
Caden.
pleasure.
Los Angeles
Thank you,
Nista,
man.
episode
Hey, my
100
pleasure. It was fun hanging out
and
with all you guys.
29.